Hi everyone, and welcome to the Murder Den, where I'll be doing most of my videos for the next 5 weeks. My name is Chris George, and this is Crowdfunding Chowdown, where we chow down on all the exotic dishes. From feet to my Aunt Judith's pudding to chocolate-covered crickets, we try it all, and... No. Oh, sorry, no, that's a different channel. That's a secret channel you will never find. It's even more secret than Pablo's Pickles. No, this is Crowdfunding Countdown, where we take a look at every single board game campaign, finishing up in the next week, taking us to mid-Tuesday, the 29th, right before Heroes of Might and Magic finishes, because we're not going to talk about Heroes of Might and Magic. That finishes the next Tuesday as well, but we'll talk about it next episode and kick things off so we can have a little bit of space between the 5 reasons you shouldn't back video of it and a crowdfunding countdown, and seeing if anything else, entices people to jump on board. But if you haven't checked out that 5 reasons you shouldn't back because you don't care about me shouting at you to not spend your money, no, you want me to shout at you to spend your money like I do in these videos, well, be sure to go check that out, because we're having another giveaway sponsored by an anonymous patron. They have a copy of Mage Knight Ultimate Edition to give out. They wanted to give that out because they already had a copy and got their hands on another copy. So you can win that if you go over there and comment on that video. And speaking of patrons, I'd like to give a huge shout out to my newest patrons, Lars and Ian. You two are the friggin' best patrons around. Yeah, I know, that's a little awkward to say after those 2 other patrons give away a game, but I don't care. I am a fickle feather for each wind that blows, and I just want to say thanks for jumping on board. I appreciate it a lot. And of course, I appreciate all of my patrons. Thank you so much for sticking with the channel and supporting. It really means a heck of a lot. These videos in particular take a decent amount of time to do, although this one won't take any time at all because it's over. Goodbye. No, this one is a lighter week compared to the last 2 behemoths of weeks that we've had. I think we might see a slower ramp down into crowdfunding being extinct as we head into the Christmas season, as it often does. So we'll see how many more crowdfunding countdown episodes we get in this year, and if we don't have those on Monday, I don't know what you're going to do with yourself, but maybe you'll watch the other videos that I'll put out, which I'll think of something fun to do. But yeah, thanks to all of my patrons. You all friggin' rock. And thanks to everybody for watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Please tell me what you're waiting for. I need this sort of feedback. I desperately need to know what you're waiting for. But while you figure that out, let's head right away into the games for this week, starting off with something that I know all of you are going to wanna, and that, of course, is Wana, which first got its origins in Tijuana. No, it didn't. It didn't. But this is Wana, in which you can lure your opponents into a trap of their own making. A 2-player abstract strategy game inspired by Go. I'll just let this video play while we talk about it a little bit. Wana is the 3rd by designer Kanat. I reviewed the first game, Iro. I looked at Sayu. He actually sent me a copy of Sayu that I haven't yet reviewed. I wasn't a huge fan of Sayu. Here's my review for Sayu. I wasn't the hugest fan of Sayu because I knew I wasn't going to be. And I think that's telling, because if this looks like a game that you're interested in, you're going to get what it gives you. You should know just by the description if this is a game that you would really enjoy. And the whole purpose of Wana is to move your marbles. They can be moved along the lines, and specifically along these little curved lines as well. Those are important to the maneuverability. You can move your marble, but you can't move it through other marbles, and you want to trap another player's marbles. If someone can't move one of their marbles on their turn, they lose and you win. And this right here, this production copy actually looks really nice. And something that I will say about both Iro and Sayu is that the component quality has been really nice. I can vouch for that 100%. Sayu, I'm not a huge fan of because I don't like the thinking. I don't like thinking in my games. I'd prefer a game that has no thinking for me. And so Iro or Wana look like they're going to be more my speed. And it depends where you live. In Canada, it's not so great. It would cost about $60 Canadian to get to my door, but it would cost like $25 to $35 if you're in the US, which might help. It's about $17.40 in shipping, so you're looking at $42, and that's on the more expensive side, but Honestly, the component quality of these games, I don't know how big this is, though. I guess you can get a sense by looking at the hands. That's about how big I would want it to be. Unless they're very tiny baby hands, in which case you shouldn't be employing those babies to be doing the video for your game. Cannot. Yeah, it's nice. Eero got a seal of approval, I think, from Tom, and it got a seal of approval from me, which is more important. Take that, Tom. So if you're interested in Wana and that sort of, if you like Go, then I think I would check this one out. That finishes Tuesday, November 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Moving along to Helionox Chronicles, a standalone solo cooperative deck building board game for 1 to 4 players set in the Helionox universe with a full campaign mode. And Helionox is one, before I take a moment and look at the video and look at the rulebook, Helionox is one that was recently on one of my deathmatch videos, the board game tournaments that we run. It was in the Shelf of Shame, the regular Helionox, and it seemed like a fun game. You had these little mini locations that you could visit and purchase various cards and upgrade your deck, and you get points that way. So the fact that they've invested into a campaign feels fun, although I think the benefit of Helionox was that it was a cheap price, and this one is $49, so that's okay. It's not like the cheapest. I think Helionox regular would be cheaper, but let's check it out. And here, actually, this is actually really good. I haven't gotten to the rulebook yet, but there's going to be some differences between Helionox and this because this one is focused on cooperative play and you're fighting against a giant enemy and not each other. But what is interesting is that they are able to offer this for $49 when they have 8 dice and 240 cards. It's more than 214 the Heroes of Might and Magic has. 20 architects, so look at that, more cards. They don't have those tokens though. And so much more, but they don't want to spawn anything. Well, that's a different idea. Even with acrylic building tokens for $69, and you have Heroes of Might and Magic for $75. I just wanted to reinforce my point of the IP tax, and you see that not being present here, which is great because it's an original IP that they own and are playing around with. I'm not sure how I feel about this pitch. Helionox is broken down into 6 episodes that form the core campaign mode of the game. Each teaches a different game concept while unlocking a variety of components which can be used to play Eternal mode or to replay the campaign at higher difficulty. So that gives me the sense that, like, oh, you're going to have these 6 episodes and only when you get to the end you'll really know how to play the whole thing. I don't know, I guess a lot of legacy games do that. Rulebook is pretty far down the page, but this has got to be one of the most in-depth descriptions on a campaign page that I've seen, and I love it so much. I don't feel like I need to look at the rulebook because I think you really get a really nice overview of the flow of things. The difference here, the couple things that are interesting here is that you're going to have an architect who's basically like a leader and he'll give you a bonus. They'll have a cooldown on them. That's it. That's what this cryo thing is. They got a lot of fancy words over there. They got a lot of $100 words. We don't need that techno jargon babble over here. We're simple people. But it's going to come around to managing these 6 locations in the solar system. Where are you? There's going to be the sort of the main event, the main area where the opponent is gathering influence, and you need to run around on these various locations, which I really like location-based deck building, sort of half tower defense, half deck building. I like that sort of stuff. And you'll be adding in, there'll be little slots for buildings that you can build up. Meanwhile, you'll go through your own action track over here. You'll start with your lead action and do the cooldown of your architect, and then choose if you're going to buy or reinforce or protect buildings, and go through and then score to see who gets the most influence at the end of each era or each round. It looks fun. And I know I was like, oh, $49, but $49 is good. I don't know what I was thinking. It's tough because you think deck builder, but this one has a lot of cards, as many cards, more cards than Heroes of Might and Magic, and it's cheaper. It's also got a bunch of boards. Let's see what the shipping is, though. The shipping estimate's $16 to the US, 20 to Canada. So again, it's not 49, it's 65, right? That's why I was like, 65. It's really 69 for Canada, which is $93 Canadian. And then at that $93 level, I think, okay, is this something that I want to invest in? But I like co-op deck builders. I do. Helionox, when I looked into it, seemed like a fun game, like a fun, easy system to pick up. And this looks fun. My only concern here would be that what is my concern? I forget. I guess I don't have any concerns. No, I remember. My only concern is that the 6 episodes may not be exciting enough for you to want to replay at that difficulty plus, that new game plus sort of difficulty. That's what's giving me a little bit of pause, but Yeah, it looks decent. If you're interested in that, that finishes Wednesday, November 23rd at 4 p.m. Moving along to Ravens, a game of wit, guile, and agility, which is a modern twist on the classic German card game Tod und Leben, Life and Death, or Todd is Leaving. And this looks bad, but I'm talking about it because it looks cool, but I think it's actually not good at all. Sorry, Ravens, but it's just speed slap. They say you lay down a card from your face down hand, aka you have a deck of cards. You're playing cards one at a time face up. If you make matches, you slap. It's Egyptian rat screw. It's quick war. It's whatever you want to call it. It's not something you need to spend $15 plus shipping on just a regular deck when you can just have a regular deck of cards. Although 15 isn't horrible, but it's not good. Anyway, I just figured I'd talk about that because it's a light week and also because it looks like it's much better than it is. So let's move on to something that I am very excited to check out, which is Zoo Tycoon, the board game. Your zoo in a box with more than 230 animal meeples. A highly thematic board game experience for 1 to 4 players. This is Ark Nova 2.0. They're looking to dethrone Ark Nova. It's a tough task, but Zoo Tycoon is up for the challenge. I never played Zoo Tycoon as a kid. I know, my parents didn't love me. I think we've established that on this channel already. They were neglectful and didn't introduce me to the finer things in life. Yes, and I know, Mom and Dad, that you watch these videos and that it is our only way of maintaining our relationship, but I don't care. I'm telling it out for the world to know. Yeah, so I don't have any emotional attachment to the IP, so thanks to my mother and father for saving me from the FOMO of doing an Instaback based around undignified and undeserved nostalgia. Oh, see, that's a good deluxe upgrade. Silk screening all the meeples, but you get all the meeples just regularly in the base game. That base game going for 113 Canadian. That's like, yeah, 80-ish, 83 US. Not bad. I expected it to be more, honestly, with all the different meeples. I expected it to be the deluxe price, really. So just like Ark Nova, you're having to move up on 2 different tracks. Your popularity track, which will give you money, and your conservation track, which won't give you anything, but your score at the end is the lowest value of both tracks. I love scoring systems like this because it forces you to balance, but it's also an interesting puzzle with this one if you're pushing forward your economy and then having to choose when do you stop investing in that economy and investing in that other thing, which is really neat. Different than Ark Nova because you could just push your economy the whole time, which is basically what I do. I neglect that top track as much as possible and then just push it over near the end. You'll also have these different objectives that you're completing for, scoring in first or second. Each individual animal will give you scores as well if you put them into your park. And depending where they are, it depends how happy they are or how thriving they are. Rulebook is halfway down the page, so it's okay. Oh, and that's cool. You have these little focal points which will determine how many people are actually looking at your elephants. And if there's more elephants, like if there's 5 elephants, you get to place additional focal points. If there's only friggin' 3 elephants, who wants to see 3 elephants? I didn't come to the zoo to see 3 elephants. No, I came to see 5 or none. 3 elephants, pff, might as well be a painting. Wait, we get workers? Oh yeah, that's what those meeples were for. Totally overshadowed in their video breakdown. That's why I always read the rule book. Or maybe I was just blinded by the meeples, like that song. Blinded by the meeple, ripped up like a zoo, another lion ate the people. Cool. Ties are friendly ties, and there is no second. That's neat. Friendly ties being that if we're both tied for first, we both get 10 points, because first gets 10 points. We don't add up first and second and divide it between us. Because again, we beat those other 2 idiots who are too busy looking at 3 elephants. I also love how they're specifying you don't have to build an adjacent, because that's Ark Nova, and we're not Ark Nova. Yeah, this looks fun. So each round, there's going to be 8 rounds. It's going to be divided into 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. You're going to skip the spring phase because it's more of an income phase. Summer is where you are going to sort of build your animals and buy your animals. And then autumn is where you're going to be more building your buildings. What I do like about the worker placement action is there's a number of actions in each season, but you only get your workers back at the end of the round in winter. And winter is obviously the cleanup phase. I say obviously, but yeah, obviously it's a zoo. think about the theme. You're just going to be paying your staff, which is also why you have to discard down to over 3 money. Like all zoos, you can only hold on to $3 in between seasons. What happens to the other ones? Well, you feed it to the peacock because they're opulent and they have you hostage. No, that might be another animal. I can't believe we've gotten this far without referencing the animal that shall not be named. What I am a little bit confused about is the zoo marker. In order to randomize the animals, there's a big sheet that you're going to stick into the piece of paper, and then you're going to shift it up slowly as the game progresses. And so you're going to start in a random position, and you don't want to have any repeats, basically. But I'm not sure as to the implementation of it, but that's probably just like not explained as well as I would have liked it to. Yeah, honestly, this one seems fun. With getting all those meeples? Well, Spielkult calls it 8 Kultpunkten, so probably a good reference point. Here's the kicker, though. This is unfortunate. 25 US, 35 Canadian for shipping. That's rough. That brings it to that $140 price point to me. Even $113, I mean, like, I'm stretching because I think it looks neat, but I just don't see any of these being exclusive either. And the fact that it is Zoo Tycoon, and that's a fairly popular IP, I see this being more widely available. So that's not disappointing because that means more people will be able to get it down the line. But that, for me, means you don't really need to get it now. But if you're interested, check that out. Looks fun. Wednesday, November 23rd at 5:59 p.m. On to this, Words of a Feather, which looks really neat. I'm intrigued just by the design of it. Let's see what it is. A beautiful party game for 3 to 8 players, as opposed to all those ugly party games you play for 3 to 8 players, just like Uncle Larry likes to play at every Thanksgiving, called Shout Your Racist Opinions at the Table. Not the best party game. Not the best. They're going for the canvas approach, which is fun, where you can hang the box on the wall. Unfortunately, canvas looks better because it wraps around the side. That's what you want. Or display on a table. Oh, thank goodness we finally have a box that we could display on a table, as opposed to all those other boxes I've had to just step on and sit in and just crunch underneath my feet. Wait, it comes with this beautiful ceramic bowl? Oh my gosh, what is the price point on this? $35, and it comes with a ceramic bowl. I guess that's it, because that's the only cost. Otherwise, it's just cards and the just one dry erase markers and boards. I can't believe it comes with a little ceramic bowl, but strangely, I'm into it. Rulebook, well, it's halfway down the page, but it's a small page. Didn't quite get it by their explanation, so I'm hoping the rulebook will illuminate some things for me. While that's loading, let me talk about, like, this is the art direction. Art direction is selling this 100%. Obviously, I'm excited about my ceramic bowl. I grew up with nothing but porcelain, so ceramic, makes me feel like I finally made it. Oh, okay, this is a good example. So you're going to draw 2 cards from the main feather pile. You're going to rip 2 cards out of that poor ceramic peacock's bottom, and then you're going to choose 2 of those cards. It doesn't have to be the ones that you just pulled out. You're going to choose 2 card clues, and you're going to say a verbal clue that relates to those card clues, and then you're going to write down something different. So if I'm saying sauna, Tony is saying sauna, classic Tony. You know what sort of party Tony's interested in. Yes, it is Spicify. Thanks for playing. I've got 2 words for you, Pablo and hot sweaty night. Okay, fine, it was 3 words, but who's really counting? Pablo, I hope you're not, because then maybe I'll slip into your party game. So Tony wrote down Steam, and he's betting 2 points. He's betting 2 points that somebody is going to match with him. And then everyone else has to write down a word, because they see sauna. They're trying to figure out which 2 clues he's putting together, and then trying to connect another word with those 2 clues. Although you could just say sauna, and then you'd probably just be connecting with the one verbal clue, so you don't actually have to use these cards that you pull for anything. I'm fairly certain that nobody really considered that. But it doesn't matter. They're there and they look pretty. You get points. Your points are those gems. That's it. $35 US, 47 Canadian. Shipping spreadsheet. $5 US. Oh, to ship to Canada. Hey, United States, UK, Belgium. That's actually amazing, exceptional. So it's $40 US to get this. Still a lot for a party game, right? Like if you're thinking about games like Just One or Code Names, or those usually go around that $20 Canadian level, and this is then going to be around that $55, $60 Canadian level. After the shipping, 55. It's 47 Canadian. You do get that great ceramic bowl. Has anybody told you about it? Yeah, I mean, this looks completely fine as a word party game. They're really trying. I think that's key here. They're really trying. They're trying to make something unique and looking great on a table, and they're really pursuing their mission statement. And I think they're hitting it right on the head. So if you're interested in that, check it out. That's Wednesday, November 23rd at 8 p.m. Moving along to Survival of the Fattest. Foraging fun for 1 to 4 critters using action selection, hand management, and unique abilities to survive the winter. And we can tell that there's a deluxe version because you can see that there's going to be minis. By Dirty Rascal Games, I really like that they're featuring you can play as Old Grizzly, who certainly doesn't have a human set of parents stuffed inside of him, because that's how they kidnap people. Just so you know, bears, they stuff them in whole and then they spit them out like some oversized bird. There he is, Old Grizz. Feels targeted. The other critters are best to stay clear as he doesn't like to share. Lottie the Odd Ear, Honey and Buns. Good names. Oakley. Good names. Great names. Deluxe Kickstarter Edition exclusive critter Rascal. Well, they're still working on the Rascal. Rulebook. You know, about halfway down the page. Although I do have issues with this. If there's a tie, it's whoever is the biggest creature gets to go. Because Honey and Buns, they look like resourceful creatures, and I do not understand why they're not standing on each other's shoulders and wearing a little otter-shaped trench coat to friggin' kick the crap out of Lottie's chances of going first. That's what I have to say about that. It's a very simple game. There's going to be 4 locations or 6 locations. I think it's 6. And you're going to choose, yeah, I'm going to go to this location. Maybe it's 4 locations. I think I was right. I literally just read this. Anyway, you're going to choose a location. You're saying, yeah, I'm going to go there. Or on your turn, you can play different cards from your hand. There can be trick cards, whatever. But then you're going to proceed to the foraging phase, where you're going to commit a number of foraging cards from your hand. You say, yeah, I really want to get into whatever's here. And then you're going to flip up a bunch of cards from that location. And whoever committed the best foraging cards and the most foraging cards gets to draft first. And if you are foraging there, but they take all of the good stuff, well, you might be left with a trap in your discard pile, which then will get shuffled back into your deck. You can also use food to activate your creature's special ability, which is cool. You can just spend some food instead of using them for endgame points, because there's going to be a number of recipes out there on the board for endgame points. You can do that. You can activate your creature's ability, which is kind of fun. Standard edition, $44 US, 62 Canadian. Deluxe edition is $63 US. This certainly gives you a little bit of sticker shock, and maybe that's the goal. $89 Canadian, and then shipping, I bet it's gonna be $20. Haha, let's pretend I was actually talking about US, Australian bucks and not US. $12 US for shipping. That's fairly good. Canadian, it's 31, so yeah, closer to 20 US. Not a good deal at all in Canada, but 56 total if you're in the US. It seems okay. There's a game called Ratland that was also on the Hidden Gems board game deathmatch that I think is really funny, that I think probably does this idea a bit better, because you can choose 3 locations for your rats to go to, but the person who commits the most rats gets to draw from the bag first, sort of a cheese drawing game, and then you can also fight your neighbors for cheese, etc. So if you're interested in this, I'd check out, see if you can find a copy of Ratland. I don't know if you can find it anywhere, honestly, because it was a very small Kickstarter back in the day, but I think it's fun, so check that out. But if you're interested in this one, that finishes Thursday, November 24th at 4 p.m. Next up, we have Queen Games Big Box Campaign. You know I love talking about a Queen's Big Box campaign. Here we have Fresco, Merlin, or Escape, the Curse of the Temple. Their big boxes. And we can see by the resounding success of this campaign that they're really doing well, because Queen Games is known for giving great value. Although you do get game trays. That's nice. Maybe those already existing. Like, I've played Fresco. It's a fun game. I've played Escape, the Curse of the Temple. It's a fine game. It's not worth having a big box for it. I haven't played Merlin, but I think Merlin actually looks good. My utter scorn for Queen Games is so prevalent that I'm not impartial enough to talk about this. I really am not. So I just wanted to point out, if you missed out on all of their other big boxes that they're constantly printing and talking about, oh, well, now you can get them again. Although I've seen every single one of these, I think, for cheaper in the secondhand market. So I don't know, Queen Games. I don't think they're worth the space on your shelf, really. But somebody talked to me about Merlin. Let me know if Merlin's awesome, because I heard Merlin was good. Fresco is fun. You're doing this painting. It's like solid. It's a $60 game. It's not a $120 game, and that's what they're asking for. Well, 95, sorry. So 130 for Canadians. Anyway, if you're interested in those, that finishes Friday, November 25th at 5 p.m. Let's keep it moving to Haunticulture. Ghostly gardeners compete to plant the spookiest flower bed, a 60-minute 1-to-4 player bidding and tile placement game, just in time for 2 weeks after Halloween. The gardens of Creepstone Manor are in shambles, and ghosts can't use lawnmowers. What a great tagline. Rulebook a little before halfway over the page. See, and this is again where going to the rulebook automatically makes me appreciate this game more. In a 4-player game, you actually have a larger grid, and this is important because it's not then just a game of tic-tac-toe. There's a whole shtick about you're going to be playing monster cards in rows and columns to bid on the tokens on those rows and columns, and then you're going to take those tokens and put them into your spooky garden. But each card will have a single ability, and then, to quote the campaign page, a more powerful bottom ability. And of course, you always want to trigger the more powerful bottom ability, because a power bottom ability is just much better than a regular kind. So I've been told. But because you need 3 in a row to trigger that power bottom ability, this becomes a much more interesting puzzle when you have more real estate to work with. That's all I'm saying. Makes me only want to play it at 4 versus the kind of boring puzzle I think it will be at 2 to 3. Or at 3 specifically. Even at 2, it's just tic-tac-toe. Like, who cares? But that's pretty much it. You get the stuff. If you have the most influence in that row, you then get the tiles and you can put them on your specific board. Keeping in mind that there's 2 things to a row, so second place also gets the second choice. But hopefully with the tile laying, that will be punishing and you won't want it to happen. Then you plant them in your little garden. When your garden's done, the game's over and you see who wins. So it's 26 pounds. That's 26 bucks-ish, because the pound and the US dollar is pretty close. And then we've got the base game for 50 pounds. Rest of the world, 8 pounds. So to get a copy for me, it's like 50 bucks. That's tough. I mean, I think this game looks good. I actually think this would be a lot of fun, very simple. I hope this gets a retail production because it seems fun. I also like that the scoring conditions can be reverse to the more advanced mode, and most importantly, you're going to have secret objective cards as well, which will or should determine how you're going to arrange your own map. If it doesn't, that's silly. But yeah, this one looks good. I only clicked on it because of the art and because I thought the ghostly gardeners looked funny, and I'm very happy to see that there is a decent game in it as well. So if you're interested in that, check that out. That's Saturday, November 26th at 3:04 p.m. Next up, we have Monster Kegger, which I clicked on because I thought I'd get to blow my funny card game horn, and I can't, because all you have here is a paper, scissors, rock mechanic where you're going to flip over cards and then you're going to see who you're going to attract. It reminds me a little bit Lost Creatures, Hunt for the Lost Creatures that I reviewed a while back. It was pretty fun, but it kind of becomes one note after a while. I think this could be the same thing. You're going to flip a card and that's going to repel certain creatures and take other creatures. And there's little symbols telling you what happens. So you want to get the most creatures into your pile. 15 bucks US. Honestly, for a little sort of stack a card game, that's what I would hope for, and $5 shipping. Way to go, Monster Kegger. I don't have anything bad to say about you at all, other than why didn't you let me blow my funny card game air horn, you friggin' jerks. So check that out if you want. Sunday, November 27th at 2:59 a.m. It is what it is. 36 people have backed it, which is strange to me when the average cost is 15. So maybe some retail stores have done it. No, but some people have wanted to get in the game, so nice friends maybe, making it seem like people want it. It's tough, right? Like, I don't want this, but I can see maybe that somebody might want it, so whatever. Let's move on. Let's move on to another RPG brought to you by one of my patrons who said I don't have to feel bound to talk about this just because he sent me a message saying, hey, this thing looks cool, but you know what? Whatever my patrons think is cool, I think is cool. And that's an official statement that I hope doesn't bite me down the line when one of their ancestry is revealed to be that of a war criminal. I've said it, I can't go back on it now, so fingers crossed for me and for everyone involved. But over here we have the Paranoia RPG, the perfect edition. And this, according to my patron, is an update on something that was appropriately first published in 1984, with its core theme being a dystopian underground society run by a computer. Not entirely stable, but you didn't hear that from me. So players are troubleshooters with 6 clones whose access and privilege are governed by their color code, as this very funny parody of the Cold War. Honestly, looks neat. Say hello to Paranoia Perfect Edition, otherwise known as that cool game with a computer and troubleshooters that you shoot everything and the GM lies and you die repeatedly, but holy cow, is that game fun. If that's not a great tagline for an RPG, I don't know what is. Your character also has a mutant power and belongs to an illegal secret society, and so do all the other players, and each of you has a laser pistol. Now play nice, or shoot each other in the back. That's more likely. This is a funny campaign page. Normal RPG. The orc still lives. I attack with my mace. I rolled a 4, and even with my bonuses and modifiers, there's no way I hit. You know what? I stopped having fun. I wish I had an RPG that was crazy, funny, and reasonably priced. You know, I hear that in almost every single RPG that I've ever played. That exact line. It's uncanny how the computer has managed to pump out that exact phrase almost as if they were spying on us the whole time. But for the Paranoia RPG, it says something like, my team leader still lives. I casually chuck a grenade at her feet. I rolled, oh boy, that's not good. Failure. So that means I threw the pin instead. Ah, that's kind of fun. Well, if I'm dying, death to the computer and my stupid teammates. Hey, when could we play this again? Actually, that's a bad comparison, because why would you ever throw the pin, you useless worm? At least you're hitting something with a mace, but you're just an idiot and you accidentally hit their armor forged from the fires of orcdom. But I do want to read the list of descriptions that my patron sent over of things that you can joyfully participate in, which I love. You're writing my script for me. Why would I ever want you to stop? Here are some of the things. Proving one's loyalty by faithfully serving friend computer on various missions with fellow troubleshooters. Rooting out commie traitors among one's fellow troubleshooters, those who are mutants, or those who belong to secret societies. Avoid being framed or killed by fellow troubleshooters because you are also a mutant and also belong to a secret society. Perhaps you also had a convenient role in the failure of a mission. Master the arts of diplomacy and politics in assigning blame for failed mission, or even just to cast suspicions on potentially traitorous fellow troubleshooters, and also testing out the latest R&D equipment in the field during missions. They have given you the utmost assurance that said equipment is effective and very safe. No problems at all. That sounds completely legitimate, and I'm sure that's not a lie by the GM. And finally, drinking copious amounts of well-earned, bouncy, bubbly beverage after surviving a mission. I'm really intrigued by this RPG. I think it looks fun. I think it's almost like social deduction in an RPG, which obviously scratches my itch. And it's £25, $40 for the PDF version of this game, or £45 for the hardback, $72. That's about average, I'd say. What I think is interesting, and I think this is, if you just have a good GM in general, they're going to be focused on having fun, but this is specifically telling the GM to bend, break, or openly mock any rule if it gets in the way of somebody's fun. And I think that's interesting. I think that's an interesting approach. I think that's an interesting thing to point out, because I'm sure you get some GMs who are very stringent with the rules and who aren't there to facilitate the fun. I luckily have never experienced that, because only Zach is my GM and he puts the fun in GM. Like, he's awesome at running campaigns, so I've never had to worry about that. But I like that this is an RPG that doesn't take itself too seriously. Room and board patron recommended, so check this one out. It does look fun. I'm glad I'm looking at it, because I wouldn't have if it wasn't brought to my attention. That finishes Sunday, November 27th at 10 a.m. Next up, we have Hobgoblins. Yeah, you better run. Go find a name that's not another creature's name plus Hob. That's all I wanted to say about that. Moving along, we have over on GameFound, Varmints, our penultimate campaign that we're covering. Oh, what a lovely short week. I can spend less time and I can go to sleep. Sorry, I'm professional. My family was kidnapped by bears. But Varmints is a compact 2-player card game about eating trash. So, living in America. Or North America? I don't know. Not Wendy's, though. Oof. You know you're my one and only. Even more than Maggie. Side note, Maybe I should say that for when I'm full screen. Doesn't matter. I'll change it right now. Side note, I'm in A Christmas Carol right now in Morrisburg, Ontario. If you're interested and you're around the area, come see it. It starts December 1st. But I play Fred, and Fred's wife is, her name, you guessed it, Maggie.
Did you say Maggie?
That's right.
What?
It's you.
It's not
No, it's not
me.
you. It's an actress playing you, but I'm thinking about you the entire time.
You're
Yes.
thinking about me? That's an imposter. Don't be smoozing some other lady.
It's you.
It's not me, you hussy.
Oh, okay. I got some splaining to do. But honestly, now I got 2 Maggies in my life, and I'm not upset about it. Back to Varmints for me to find out what it's all about. So you want to play cards that are super speedy in this sort of lane battler. You compare numbers, the fastest card wins. You also have a backup card that you can back up your Varmints and really face off against them, but you have limited resources, so you can only put the good ones in 1 or 2 lanes, so you have to outguess your opponents. It's a basic lane battler that doesn't seem that interesting at all, honestly, unfortunately. Nothing but 60 cards for 20 bucks. I think the art looks really nice. The art is really cool. The gameplay itself is very underwhelming for me. Because that's it. You play a card and you say, hey, are we the same number? No? Am I quicker? Haha, I play a card backing up someone from my hand. Oh, do I beat you now? I do. Great, I get your scraps, right? Like, that doesn't seem like that interesting gameplay to me personally. But if that sounds like it really excites you, well, check it out. That's next Tuesday, the 29th at 12 a.m. So Monday night at midnight. And finally, the last one that we're covering this week is Legends of Storm City, just to make sure that we have enough for a week next week with On the Underground, Oceans, Heroes of Might and Magic. Those 3 are going to start us off. We could have ended it with that today, but we're not going to. Just so we make sure we have enough for next week, because I think it's dwindling down, so we'll see. But let's check out Legends of Storm City, which the struggle between good and evil has come to Storm City. A series of villains and their minions plan to take over the world. You know what's a better show about minions? My Hero Academia. Great anime. Watch it all the time. Oh, watch this new season. I love watching new anime. That's just me personally. Who wouldn't want to just binge a lovely, delicious anime series? You should go check out My Hero Academia. So good. Prioritize it above anything else. And this is going to be another one of those $5 roll-in rights that have become so popular as of late, with such tasteful art. So there's no rule book. There's just this weird video, and you're going to roll some dice and assign them to various characters. But since there is no rule book, why would you even waste your time with this? It does have all these accolades, which is why I'm even considering it. And I like the idea of having all these little mini sheets, and you're activating different special abilities, and then then the heroes just activate different abilities, and you go back and forth. So sure, I mean, it's only $5, right? Like, if you like superheroes, you like print and play roll-in rights, $5 isn't that much of an investment to pay to see if it's something you would like. For good art, seemingly decent art design, or rather graphic design like sheet layout. I think that was one of the categories that was mentioned. Sure, I can see why you might be interested. I'm not, because I don't really print those out, and I like, again, the work being done for me. But if you're interested, check that out. That finishes Tuesday, November 29th at 12 p.m. That's it. That's it for this week. It was a pretty light week, although there is a pick for me. And I'm not sure if there's a pick for you. I think I'm going to make a combo of a pick for me, pick for you, honestly. No. I'm willing to do a pick for me as well. So if you're new, every week I do a pick for me and a pick for you. The pick for me being the thing that I'm the most interested in. The pick for you being the thing that I think you will enjoy if you purchase. And so there's a couple caveats here. Here are the things that I like this week. Haunticulture. I guess we'll go back to Firefox. Haunticulture. I thought that looked decent. Wana, I think that looked decent. Helionox, I think that looked decent. Those are all sort of shout-outs for the pick for me. They're all in the same line. I think if I had to lean one way or the other, the thing that I'd be the most interested in would probably be Haunticulture. I don't know. I like the art. I think it's simple. I like the little puzzle that you're going to be building. I think it could be good. I also think that it could be basic and boring. So it could be one or the other. But I think there's enough there to warrant looking into that one a little bit more. And then the pick for you, this is the one I'm actually the most excited about, is obviously Zoo Tycoon. This one looks good. It does. I think there's a lot of inner working parts. I think It'll feel like Ark Nova, but not Ark Nova. I think it'll feel like you're running a zoo and getting in different animal types. I like the addition of all the fun animeeple shapes, and it's not a horrible price, but again, I still would wait for retail on this one because it's gonna be in retail, and you can save your money on it because there's nothing here. If you're not getting the silkscreen meeples, there's nothing here that is worth spending that extra money on. And even if you are getting the silkscreen meeples, why are you doing that? Is that worth an additional $50 to you? Because that's what it's going to be when you factor in the shipping. No, this one shipping was okay, wasn't it? Let's go. Was it 12? I think it was 12. No, I lied to you. Shipping was horrible. Exactly what I said. Another $50. Is silkscreen worth that to you? No, I'll answer it for you because that's what I'm doing. It's not. It's not worth it to you. It just isn't. But it does look fun. It really does look fun. So if Zoo Tycoon has some nostalgic hold on you, I mean, reading through the rulebook, it was probably the rulebook that I spent the most time getting through. It has a level of complexity, but I think, and the learning curve itself is not going to be small, but I think when you get into it, it will be enjoyable, and it'll be a sort of depth of strategy that I am particularly interested in as well. There's that sort of complexity. I like more complex games because I feel like I can really sink my teeth into them. So yeah, Zoo Tycoon looks fun. Anyway, that's it for the week. Oh, one thing I should mention though about Wana, if you wanna, you can also get yourself a copy of Eero and Sayu. Check those out. I have a review about Eero. Sayu breaks my brain a bit. I covered it on Crowdfunding Countdown a while ago. You can check out the Crowdfunding Countdown master sheet that is always linked in the description, and you can link to where I said where I said my thoughts about it. Literally, I got a bang on the money of how I would feel because I do like Knat's titles, and they are exactly what you get. What you expect is what you get. You do not get anything more, anything less. You get the experience that it says it will provide. And I think that's kind of great. Anyway, wanted to make that point because he sent me an email. He's like, hey, if you're talking about Wana, do you want to let everybody know they could buy my other games there too? And so I don't think I said that when we were talking about it. So there's your shout out, Knat. But that's it for this week. Tell me what you are excited about. Remember, don't forget to go over to that 5 Reasons You Shouldn't Back Homeam 3 and drop a comment so you can be entered to win a copy of Mage Knight Ultimate Edition. Again, if you're not subscribed, please do so. And most importantly, let me know what you are excited about, what you have backed, what you are thinking about backing, and what you want to get for Christmas. Because I also want to know that, just for fun. Thanks so much for being here. As always, my name is George. No, wait, always? Yes, it's always been my name. No, my name's Chris George. And, well, I don't have a catchphrase, so I guess I'll stick a bunch of marbles in my mouth and run down the streets screaming profanity. Don't try that at home. Try that in the streets. Goodbye.